Hey guys, this is Andrew. This is my first video blog post. Video content is a lot of fun to produce. I love making videos, and I think that for an instructional photography kind of a thing, videos are a really good tool to do things that are really hard to do in just like a text blog post. So I'm excited to make videos. The problem with videos is that they're really time consuming to make, especially if I'm doing it with like really my high-end audio and stuff like that. So I've found what I'm hoping is a good compromise. This isn't obviously super nice, crazy high-end, well-produced video, but I have a good mic and it's set up so that I can make these videos really easily without going through too much trouble or spending a ton of time, and that allows me to make the videos because I just don't have as much time as I would like to be able to dedicate to making video content the right way. So this is what my videos are going to look like for the time being, and hopefully they're good enough. Today what I want to do is go through an editing process with you and show you and kind of talk you through my editing process for a film photo specifically. So this is scans from a roll of film I shot on my Canon FTB. It's an old 80s film SLR that I like to shoot. This film is HP5, which is my favorite 35mm film. It's good stuff. So I'm not really good at scanning, and I don't really scan my film to show as like a final product. The reason I scan my film is so that I can look at it and see if it's worth printing, basically. And if it is, if I like something enough that I shot on film that I want to share it online, then I'm going to darkroom print it, and then I'm going to scan the darkroom print, because I just find that's a lot easier to show what I'm trying to do. Or really, that's a lot easier for me to show online what I was picturing the image compared to scanning film, which is a lot more difficult. So as you can see, these scans are not great. The other thing you might have noticed is that I've got two of each photos, and what these actually are, if you've never heard of it, is called stereo photography. So you basically, you've got your camera, usually orient it vertically, you stick it on your tripod, you find your subject and you take a photo, and then you scoot the camera over a few inches, about the distance from one eye to the other. You take a second photo of the same thing. Now you've got two different perspectives, one from each eye, so to speak, and that allows you to view them in 3D, which is cool, and I'll teach you how at the very end of this video. So that's why there's two of each. They're almost the same, but they're not quite exactly the same. And because we have two, we're going to be able to see them in 3D, which is kind of fun. So let's get started without further ado. These two right here are the ones that I've kind of picked out of the roll that I liked the best. And we're going to start with a crop, because I've got a lot going on up here that I don't care about, and a lot going on down here that I don't care about. And I don't, actually I'm going to get rid of this dust first, because yeah, like I said, I'm not good at scanning, and when I darkroom print this, the dust will not be there. So, but it's annoying me enough that I'm going to get rid of it right now. Okay, so we're going to crop this down. Now normally I don't really use square compositions, that's really uncommon for me, but I think it just works quite well for this photo. So we're going to crop that, and anything we do to one photo we need to do to the other. So, and I'll show you a cool technique for applying the same adjustments to multiple photos if you don't know how already, but things like cropping and dust removal have to be done individually. Okay, cool. So we've got our squares. So the first thing that I notice is that this is a horribly low contrast image, and that has to do with, again, me not being very good at scanning. So we're going to fix that a little bit. Now I don't want this image to be super punchy. It was a calm day. It was one of the first days of spring when I took this, when there were a lot of flowers on the trees, and I really felt a kind of a happy, jovial sense. So I definitely don't want like really deep blacks to kind of make this photo super moody or anything like that, but I want the wood to be dark enough that it contrasts nicely, and I want the flowers to be light enough that they contrast nicely. So I'm kind of picturing something more along these lines. That's probably about right. And if I can avoid dodging and burning the flowers locally, that will be nice, because just that much less work to do in the darkroom. That's kind of the interesting thing about editing film photos, is that I need to remember to only use tools that I know how to replicate in the darkroom, because digital editing is a lot easier than darkroom printing. You have an undo button for one thing, which doesn't really exist in the darkroom. So I think that's about right as far as tones go. I may come back and dodge this a little bit later, because if I have to do that in the darkroom, it's not the end of the world. The other big thing that's super obvious that's happening in this photo is this crap up in the corner. So I have mode turned on in Lightroom where anything that's perfectly black gets this blue highlight, and anything that's perfectly white pixels gets this red highlight. So I know when I'm blowing something out or crushing my blacks. And I don't need this to tell me that this is way too bright. This is like this huge eyesore that's totally detracting from my composition, but I just could not figure out when I was shooting the photo how to get that out. So wasn't able to compose it out, so we're gonna have to edit it out. So we're gonna drop that exposure down and highlights down and really contrast a bit. We're gonna see if we can paint that down so it's not quite so distracting. And I'm probably gonna have to try multiple layered brushes doing basically the same thing. All right, that's maybe a little too far, but we can lighten that up. So this looks horrible and ugly and like grainy because this is just a quick and dirty dodge job. In the darkroom, I don't get extra grain when I'm dodging, which is nice. And so I think that I'm gonna be able to dodge that corner down a lot better optically with my enlarger than I can do digitally here with this crappy scan. So that looks horrible, but that's not how it's going to look in my final product with a little luck. So I think while I have this brush out, I am going to do just a little bit of dodging the oh, I think I've been interchanging dodging and burning incorrectly. This was burning, this will be dodging, and I'm gonna just bring up the whites just a little bit, make it stand out a little bit more. That might even be too much, but it lets me see where I'm painting really easily. So let's just bring that up a little bit, maybe dial it back a little bit. Yeah, that's probably about right. Maybe turn the contrast up just a little bit as well. I want to be subtle. I don't want this photo to be really punchy. That's not the feeling I'm going for, but I think that looks about right. And then overall, I think maybe darkening the whole thing just a little bit. I don't want it to be dim or gloomy, but I don't. Oh, it still thinks I'm using a brush. There we go. I don't want it to be dim or gloomy, but I want that wood to be, you know, I want it to look like dark old wood. That's what it is. Okay, great. That's about right. I think that's how I like it. So we're gonna just grab this photo that I edited and select this one as well. And then we'll synchronize the settings. So we don't want to synchronize the spot removal or the crop. We already did those. And then I'm going to leave the brushing that I did in there because it's going to be in the wrong place, as you're going to see. This one looks even worse up in the corner. It's going to be in the wrong place. So if we pull up the brushes that we have, then you can see, yeah, see it's all in the wrong spot. So just because, you know, it's a slightly different photo. But the nice thing is that all the settings on that brush are in the right place. And so I can just paint the same thing over onto the right spots for this photo. And I'll turn off the mask that shows me where I'm painting because I want to be able to make sure that I'm not getting any haloing by coloring outside the lines. So I think we're good there. And we're going to keep that. And let me just run you through how to view things. It's pretty cool. So first of all, you have to make sure that things are correctly aligned on the right and the left. So I can't, if I have the wrong one on the left and the wrong one on the right, then it won't work. But basically what you do, let me just check it really quick. I might have it wrong right now. Yeah, let me switch it. Turn the lights back on. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, okay, that's correct. Before I teach you how, I'm going to just bump the crop up a little bit. The one on the right is sitting just a little low. So let me just scoot that up just a little. Okay, so what you do, if you've never done this before, is you cross your eyes. So you're looking at two photos right now. You cross your eyes, you'll have four, right? And then you kind of slowly uncross your eyes so that the two middle ones overlap with each other perfectly. And so you've basically got three now images that you're looking at. And this is the tricky part. Without uncrossing your eyes, you need to focus your eyes on that third image, which is really two images on top of each other. And if you do it right, when it comes into focus, you'll have a really cool 3D view of the scene. Now, it takes some practice. If you've never done it, it's a little tricky, and it's the kind of thing you get better at when you've done it a few times. But a tip to help you if you're having trouble is take this video off full screen if you're watching on full screen, because when you're looking at larger images, it strains your eye muscles a lot more, because you have to cross them a lot harder to get things to line up correctly. So if you're working with smaller images, it gives your eye muscles a lot easier time, and that will allow you to have a better chance of getting it in focus and successfully viewing it in 3D. So hopefully that worked for you, and I'm pretty happy with this image. So I haven't actually darkroom printed it yet, but between now and when I actually post this video, I'm going to darkroom print it, and then I'm going to put it up on the screen right here on top of this audio. So here's the finished product. This is a scan of the printed paper that I made in the darkroom, and I'm actually really happy with how it came out. It's a fun little photo. It's not gonna win any awards, but I like it, and there's something cool to me about shooting in black and white but also stereo, because on the one hand, you're making it, it's less realistic than real life because it's black and white, and we saw it in color when I saw it in color when I was actually there shooting it. These flowers are pink actually and white. But on the other hand, it's more realistic than a normal photo of something because it's more 3D if you're viewing it in stereo. So we're kind of more realistic and less realistic than a normal photo at the same time, which is kind of a fun, weird thing that makes me happy. Hopefully that wasn't too philosophical. So that's it. Here's our finished photo. I'm pretty happy with it. That's kind of my process when I'm doing film work, is to just get it on the computer quick and dirty and mock up how I kind of want the final product to look, and then I will try to make it look like that in the darkroom, and then scan that, and that's what gets shared online. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be able to make more videos like this, and leave me a comment if there's something that worked for you or didn't work for you, or tell me if you were able to see it or not. And yeah, I'm curious to hear back on what you guys think. Have a good day.